Hi, my hair is totally crazy, but I'm hoping that it looks cool, and that probably doesn't, but I don't care. I want to get this done. I have a lot of stuff going on in my life right now. Anyway, John Grisham wrote this awesome book called Rogue Lawyer, and it was the #1 best-selling fiction novel the week of November 8th. And it's about a lawyer who handles cases that most other lawyers won't touch. He has a small operation. He's often working out of a van. He's got like, I don't want to say a henchman because it makes him sound like a bad guy. But he has like a right-hand man, and they get shot at, and, there are families. Let me back up a little bit. So here's a quote that I think, without spoiling the novel, because it's very good and I encourage you to read it, especially if you've never read John Grisham, like I've never read John Grisham. And anyway, so this quote, like I said, kind of really brings out the essence of the novel without spoiling it. Why have I chosen to spend my life trying to protect people who, for the most part, have done horrible things? I can justify it on the usual grounds, but at times like this, my heart is not really in it. I think about architecture school, my second choice. But then I know some architects, and they have their own issues. So, a lot of times like these guys have done horrible things, but the point is that everybody deserves a fair trial, and we can't have mob justice. And no matter what you've done, we have to make sure that our punishment is just. And the thing is, that makes him a rogue because, he will take any case. He will take absolutely any case. And the thing is, a lot of the time, those cases involve defendants that really are victims of the justice system or false accusations. So like in the beginning, and you find this out really quick, there is a falsely accused teenager who, the whole town, a small town, has decided that because he wears the wrong clothes and listens to the wrong music, that he definitely killed these 2 girls and raped them. And the reality is, that this kid is nearly retarded. And, there's no way, there's no evidence in favor, and they're pretty sure they know who it is. Anyway, but they've already made up their minds, And I feel like that does happen a lot in America today, in different ways. But, this book really highlights the need for us to be patient and to, await the judgments that are handed out, and we should assume that people are innocent until proven guilty. He does defend some pretty guilty and unsavory characters, but he also defends people that are, like I said, totally innocent. There's this one guy he defends. The cases themselves, don't really spoil the story because it's more the outcomes or how the cases are handled. That's the real meat of the plot. But one of the more interesting cases that I started explaining, there's a kid who is hijacking the neighbor's Wi-Fi and selling ecstasy on the deep web. And this is, I'll spoil this a little bit. So you want to go into this 100% spoiler free, skip ahead maybe 30 seconds, a minute, I don't know. But it's really not that. It doesn't spoil the overall story or whatever. It's just the details of the case. Well, so this teenager is hijacking his neighbor's Wi-Fi to sell ecstasy on the internet, in the deep web. And the police, they've got all this new SWAT stuff, or I guess that is a SWAT team, but the police have been very militarized, and they break down the door of this old couple's house, and they kill the dog right away. And then the SWAT team just charges up the stairs, and they're wearing really dark clothes, and it's the middle of the night. And so the guy jumps up and just starts shooting these people coming into their house. And he thought that they were criminals unlawfully entering his house in the middle of the night, which actually was true. You know, they were government agents, police officers, or whatever, but they had the wrong house because it was the neighbor. And like I said, this is just one of many cases in the story, in the book. So they kill his wife, and then, you know, basically they have made it out to be open and shut against this totally innocent guy that the state has killed. And so the rogue lawyer rushes to his defense, and you know, they expose a lot of the injustices in the criminal system through that way. On the other hand, you know, he defends a mob boss who has been known to kill his other lawyers for not getting him off, for not getting him the deals that he wants. So this Sebastian Rudd is the name of the lawyer. He really is, he's a rogue. And it makes him really cool. He's very interesting. He's very smart. I have to say, this is the best written book that I've read in this endeavor so far. I know we're only a few books in, but John Grisham is a talented author. It's very accessible, yet you can get a sense of the depth of the writer's thoughts and the felicity that he has with language, from the words that he chooses and the way that he tells the story. And I was impressed. You know, when I was a kid, knowing that this was my grandpa's favorite author, I thought, oh, well, I will read one of his books when I'm a lot older, when I'm some old adult, you know, and I guess I'm getting there. So that's not the reason I read this. Of course, we know that I'm doing this project, but I thought maybe it would be a chore, and it just wasn't. It was a real page turner. Definitely stayed up late reading this. Another thing that was interesting, I'll go back to that one case. You know, hold on, I'll find the part real quick. Okay. So one thing that was interesting about that case that I already kind of talked about, I feel like there were cops. I sometimes don't remember all these details. I do not recall. But yeah, I don't actually. So I think that they were cops, okay? So they break into the guy's house, like I was saying, and they got the wrong guy, and they killed his wife, they killed his dog, just ruined his life completely. This upstanding citizen who is totally squeaky clean, amazing, upstanding person that they just ruined his life. And this was an interesting conversation. How old are you, Mr. Kiesler? The rogue lawyer is asking this. 26, he says with a smile. Finally, an honest answer. And you're still playing video games? Of course. Well, yes, sir. In fact, you've spent thousands of hours playing video games, right? I guess. And one of your favorites is Mortal Attack 3, right? I'm holding his deposition, a thick sworn statement in which I managed to hammer out the fact that he got hooked on video games when he was a kid and still loves them. I guess yes, he says. I wave his deposition like it's poison. Jeez, I can't talk. And say, well, haven't you already testified in a sworn deposition that you've been playing Mortal Attack 3 for the past 10 years? Anyway, the point that he's getting to is that the video games have influenced his decision to go in and break into his house in a manner that's very similar to this fictional game called Mortal Attack 3. And, you know, they tried to pin Columbine on violent video games. Now they just blame the guns themselves, I guess. And I don't really, this is where I would disagree with John Grisham, because, and agree, because I think that games can really influence people. And it is kind of crazy, especially now as the graphics are getting more and more realistic. And as we approach like virtual reality, you know, it makes me wonder, I mean, at some point it's going to be hard to distinguish between fantasy and reality. And I think the level of complexity that some of these games have, even just visually now, John Grisham is sort of saying, you know, maybe it's hard for them to tell the difference between, you know, their well-rehearsed fantasies and these real-world situations in which you can't, you know, pretend like life is a video game. So, I don't know. I remember one time I was playing Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, when that game came out, and I just kept playing and playing for hours and forever. And I remember when I went to go, I was sitting at a red light, and I was like, you know, oh, I know, I'll just, screw this intersection, I'll just drive right, you know, through the sidewalk on the grass and go over the street that way. Because I've been playing the game for so long, I kind of was driving in this game more than I was in real life. And it definitely affected, for a split second, I thought, wow, I just had an impulse to do this that I had done in this game, you know. So I think that just becomes more and more true. But this novel is not about that at all. That's a total segue, you know, a LastBossMonster segue. Anyway, this is a great book. It's very thought-provoking in a lot of ways. You know, it would definitely challenge what you think about the issue. I don't think that, I wouldn't say it's like liberal or conservative or whatever. It goes pretty deep, like through storytelling into just these principles of law, and everybody's right to a lawyer. So yeah, I really liked it. Maybe I should start rating these. Thumbs up on Rogue Lawyer. Thank you for watching.